Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron provided another example why many people consider him the GOAT, not Michael Jordan. LeBron dropped 40 points Thursday night in the Lakers' 110-102 win at Portland. LeBron is the only player in NBA history with multiple 40-point games after turning 40. Jordan did it once. This is the second time LeBron has reached this impressive milestone after his 40th birthday on December 30th. He had 42 against Golden State on February 6th. The most important stat in this remarkable achievement is that the Lakers are 2-0 when LeBron has 40 or more. LeBron needs to work on his ball handling. He had a career-high 11 turnovers last night. The Lakers are at Denver Saturday. The Clippers had a 13-point lead at Milwaukee with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter but couldn't hold it. They lost 116-110. Another good game for Kawhi Leonard, 25 points in 32 minutes. The Clippers are at Indiana Sunday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Black. Black on black, black. Yeah, hey. Okay, black on black, my thoughts so black, I'm black, my skin is so black, I'm rocking that black on black is black.
Black rims on this black wheels in this black whip with this black bitch. I'm so black on black on black on black on
black on black, my thoughts so black, I'm black, my skin is so black, I'm rocking all black, everything is black.
Black rims on this black wheels in this black whip with this black bitch. I'm so black on black on black on black on.
Hey. Black out the coupe, hop out the roof when I run into you. Thoughts black as the dark side of the moon. Won't be no truce. At your funeral in an all black suit. Couple white girls rocking all black too. Me and man marching in all black boots.
KBLA Talk 1580. Time for Freedmen Fridays. This is our comprehensive reparations conversation. We do it every week at this time. And it's meant to promote deeper knowledge on all of our parts around reparations so we can understand the progress, so we can be part of that progress and stop undermining our own repair. And I'm welcoming back, he's actually been a pretty frequent guest on Freedmen Friday. He's a lead organizer for Coalition for Just and Equitable California, known as CJEC, and ARCC, the American Redress Coalition of California. Those are grassroots organizations which worked with the California Reparations Task Force to conduct community outreach and engagement around reparations. They even helped work on the bill that led to that task force. And, of course, he remains an active participant and sort of community lobbyist around reparations. Chris Lodgson, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you?
I'm blessed. How you doing?
I'm so blessed. I'm thanking God for another day. I'm thanking God for a sound mind, for all my health in my body. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Sacramento.
It's a beautiful foggy day here in LA.
Oh, wow.
You can barely see like half a block down. And good
Oh,
thing my
man,
hair is
honey,
curly. But look, big day in California, right? On yesterday for reparations. I was actually kind of surprised because I feel like we hadn't heard much from the California Legislative Black Caucus since the flurry of activity and talking points that happened after they blocked key reparations bills from getting to the floor on August 31st of 2024.
Right.
Community went up there, tried to change their mind, and
make it happen.
A lot of stuff has been happening in between. But we hadn't heard a lot other than Assemblymember Isaac Bryan rolling out his, I think it's AB 7 on the very, very first day. You and I can talk about that more later. I think we'll agree to disagree on that. I was thinking that today's deadline would come and go, and they might do nothing because they certainly hadn't signaled that they would.
Right. Well, yeah, you are absolutely right to start this. So it is a big week in the California reparations movement and the movement for repair for American freedmen, those whose ancestors were enslaved and emancipated in these United States. And yeah, it was interesting to see the announcement yesterday after, as you say, several months of not a lot of public activity. Like you said, there was the introduction of the bill AB 7 by Assemblymember Isaac Bryan in early December. Then there were two other bills introduced by Assemblymember Tina McKenna, AB 57 and then AB 62, both also based on recommendations of the California Reparations Task Force. But other than that, there hadn't been much public legislative activity. That some of that was due to the fact that we were in a transition between the last year legislative season and the current year legislative season. So that probably speaks to some of it. There's been a lot of activity on the ground and in the streets around reparations over the past several months. I think over the past maybe 5 to 7 months, there probably have been more community meetings, community forums, online activity around reparations, probably since the start of the Reparations Task Force work. So there has been work going on in the grassroots world, but you're absolutely right. Not a lot of public legislative activity, although there was some private, non-public legislative activity going on up here at the Capitol.
Okay, yeah, and I want to get into that, and I also want to get your take on the various bills because they actually unveiled a lot of stuff on yesterday. But just to address the grassroots organizing, I think that it's great that people are engaged, that they're showing up in big numbers for community meetings, that folks are trying to track more of what's going on. I do feel like, maybe I should pose it as a question.
Sure.
Some of the folks that got involved are not as familiar with the legislative process. They just want reparations. Do you think that some of the activity, particularly, I would say, the targeting of electeds by yelling at them and calling them names, or what I would call ill-advised support of Republican opponents, hurt our cause more than it helped it?
No, not at all. I think it actually helped the cause, to be quite honest with you. I think it's always important. Somebody once told me politicians respond to pressure, not applause. And I completely agree with that. It is our constitutional right to express ourselves to our elected officials, and we're not supposed to be legislative experts as people in the public. Now, I'm going to put myself to the side a little bit because I've dedicated, as you know, really my life, especially over the past, 5 to 10 years, to knowing more about the civic process, knowing more about the legislative
process.
Right,
of course you have.
So that's me.
I mean, and here's the thing. I'm not saying they should have, fluffy beds and comfort. I mean, that was a major betrayal. You're going to deal with the consequences of that, and I feel that they should. But running up on people, calling them Uncle Toms, I think that's a mistake. I think that
agree to disagree there.
You think it's productive to run up on someone and call them an Uncle Tom?
I think it is productive to always confront and challenge elected officials when you see them, when they are in your neighborhood.
But you challenge the policy, not the person, right? I mean, isn't that the problem?
Well, it's the person who's doing the policy, and so
Slippery slope.
You can challenge someone on the policy, and from most, if not all, of the interactions that I've seen with folks out in the streets, they have been completely about the policy. Now that's most of the stuff. Now maybe there's other stuff I haven't seen.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I can't say that
I really like.
Okay, well, I can't say that I agree with that, and I think particularly if you're going to be critiquing a woman, it's better to stick to the policy. There's plenty of really hard things you can say about the policy. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the kind of thing I think you're talking about, but what I've seen has been really positive.
Okay.
And again, it is always good for folks to confront elected officials. And again, we need to talk in the ways that we talk as regular people. So I don't expect somebody who is working 9 to 5, got kids,
I hear you.
To know about all the policy differences. When I see you in the streets as an elected official, I want you to do what I say.
Yeah, understood.
I'm going to say it in a way that I want you to understand that.
Raphael, I know I'm rushing you because we got a lot to get through. Raphael Plunkett says all politicians deal with passionate constituents. I also don't agree with supporting these Republicans. And I think a lot of people, I think some folks play themselves by supporting Republicans who turned around and showed their true colors, that they have never supported us on anything, and then they try to act like they're supporting us on reparations, but then turn around to Fox News and talk out the other side of their mouths.
I could say the same thing, Dominique, about the Democrats. I mean, you just talked about it to start the show. It was not the Republicans who blocked the reparations effort last year.
Yeah, but to be clear, they have never supported reparations, funding for education for our children, or anything else. I mean, you could say, yes, it was not only the Democrats, it was the black Democrats, and then the governor, of course, who failed to sign the bill.
Thank you for saying that.
But
absolutely,
but let's be clear, it's not like the Republicans have been working so hard for reparations and they were blocked. No, the Democrats blocked themselves, and do not get me wrong. That was an unforgivable betrayal, particularly in the moment that we're in now with attacks on blackness and DEI. But I stand by the fact that I think there was some shooting in the foot of ourselves by certain individuals by trying to hitch their wagons to Republicans. So we'll agree to disagree on that.
I think it's doing good politics when you put yourself on both sides of the fight to get reparations. Reparations is not owned by the Democratic Party, clearly, because they haven't done it, and they've been in power.
Well, what have Republicans done? All they've done is block, try to shut it down. I mean, to say the Democrats haven't done it. Well, show me any reparations that have been paid or reparatory bills that have been passed by Republicans.
Well, Ronald Reagan, governor of California, and then president of the United States.
Ronald Reagan did reparations.
Signed the Japanese-American reparations.
I'm talking about for black folks, yo.
Well, I mean, that's reparations, though. And
that's a stretch, Chris. It really is. Sorry. I love you, but that's a stretch.
Love you, too. Last year, the Republicans in the Assembly in California and the Republicans in the Senate in California, over half of them voted for the California reparations bills. One of them that got to the governor, who was a Democrat's desk, and then he vetoed.
Right. Also, and I'm clear on that. But the thing is, they wouldn't have been able to vote for those had Democrats not written them, put them forth, and lobbied and educated them to do so. So let's not pretend, and then block them, which is totally idiotic. But let's not pretend that Republicans are our allies. Reggie Remain in the chat says Bill Asaley was the only one to push our bills on the floor at 8:31. But did he, though? Did it happen? And did he not go on Fox and say that he couldn't see a justification for paying reparations? Anyway, let's get to these bills. I know we're not going to agree on. We're not going to agree on this.
That makes for good conversation.
That's right. That's what we want. Engagement. Pay attention. It's important. Okay.
Right.
Chris Lodgson, should we go in the order that they rolled them out? Is that what we should do?
Well, I mean,
or should we go most important to least important?
Yeah, I think we should go most important. I think we should go the biggest, most important bill, which I think there are two really. SB 518, which was the bill to create the Bureau for Descendants of American Slavery, and then the bill SB 437, which is a bill that creates a study in the California university system to study how to decide how to trace your lineage to a descendant of someone who was enslaved.
Okay, well, we'll look at SB 518 and SB 437 when we come forward. Someone was asking who you be. That's Chris Lodgson, lead organizer for CJEC. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and this right here, this is KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And we're talking with Chris Lodgson. We're going to get into these bills that were laid out as a pretty big list of bills that were brought forth by the Legislative Black Caucus on yesterday. I do want to say one more thing about this so-called Republican effort. I'm waiting for all the ADOS folks who have been, championing Republicans for reparations. And I'll include you in this too, Chris, since you said Ronald Reagan gave us reparations. Where are they now? You won. He's got the White House. He's got the Senate. He's got the House of Representatives. He's got the courts. Where are the effing reparations? Let's make it happen. You won. Let's make it happen.
I mean, Joe Biden had the
I don't want to hear about Joe Biden. You guys won. You caught the card. I don't want to hear about that. That's not. But no.
Has been in power.
Don't gaslight me, Chris. You won. The Republicans have the power. Make it happen. You won.
I mean, they've been there for 3 weeks.
Show me you were right. They've done a lot in 3 weeks. None of it has helped black people.
But secondly, if the Democratic Party is so pro-reparations, where were the reparations under Barack Obama when they had the presidency of the White House?
I am not talking about the Democrats. I am talking about Republicans. Since y'all love them so much and want to support them so much, hold them accountable. No, we're not talking about the Democrats. We're talking about what's happening in Washington right now.
You would just say, Dominique, I love you to death, but you were just saying how when you say the Republicans are bad, then you're also saying that the Democrats are good. And so
No,
where
that's
were
a false
the reparations
argument.
under 4 years of Joe Biden?
Okay.
Where
All right.
was the
So
reparations?
you have no answer is your point because you want to look back. And I'm telling you, you guys have been
No,
saying
I'm
Trump will do
saying-
it.
I'm
He
saying
has
the
the White
Republic-
House, the
well,
Congress, and the courts. Let's make it happen.
Well, I've never said that, first of all. But to the people who have said that, the Republicans
Let's
have
make
been
it
in power
happen.
for 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. That's not a lot of time to do reparations, but it's way less time than 4 years under Biden,
Okay.
and it's way less time
Moving
than
along.
8 years under Barack Obama.
Okay.
Just
Moving
the
along. Moving along. Those are not the facts. The facts are you're saying Republicans have done something for reparations. They've moved
Well,
quickly on
I
other
mean,
things.
they
I
literally have.
I've seen Trump disrespect reparations and say Kamala Harris was going to do it, but I haven't seen. All I've seen him do is put forth a very fiercely anti-Black agenda.
We'll have to agree to disagree there. I think if the Democratic Party, and nationally and in California, which is completely controlled by Democrats,
Pivot
let's
to
talk
Democrats.
about
Pivot to
state-
Democrats. That's not what we're talking about.
In California, the party that has been in power for the past 50 years has been the Democratic Party. For the past 50
The party
years.
that brought you the California Task Force. Let's move on because we'll never get
And
to
that blocked the
we'll
reparations.
never get to all of these bills. Okay, but just to be clear, you're saying you have hope or you believe that the new Confederate MAGA Republican Trump administration is going to deliver reparations or could possibly.
I believe that the reparations movement is capable of achieving reparations no matter who's in power.
Okay, I like that.
All right. That's the kind of power that this movement actually is working to.
Okay.
That is real power, Dominique, and this is the kind of power that I see in that building at the Capitol that I'm in every single day. The real power can get stuff done no matter who is in power.
Yep.
No
Well,
matter
that's
what the letter on the name is.
I mean, we agree on that, and I think it's the only thing that is going to keep people from jumping off the ledge at this point is remembering that, it wasn't Democrats or Republicans who brought about the end of slavery. It wasn't Democrats or Republicans that have pushed our people forward. It's always been us, ourselves, the people.
Right on. Come on. Perfect.
But somehow Republicans get glorified in that somehow. Anyway, 518. Let's start at the bottom. SB 518. This is Akilah Weber. What we're talking, it says, would establish a bureau of the descendants of American slavery. So is that significant? Let's start with the name. It's no longer the Freedmen's Bureau.
Yeah, so that's
it's the ADOS Bureau.
Or the DOS Bureau. But that's definitely significant. And that, there are some things I like about this bill. There's some things that I don't like about this bill. What you just pointed to is actually one of the things that I don't like about the bill, and that it took the name Freedmen out of the agency, not just the name, but all across the bill itself. It's not just important to have American freedmen in the language of your bill for the legal and constitutional, reasons. It's also important because of what has happened to us historically as a people. When we were at the California Reparations Task Force hearings in 2022 and 2023, fighting for the creation of a California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, it wasn't just about the legal and constitutional piece. It was because our original Freedmen's Bureau was stolen from us. It was sabotaged and it was robbed.
You're talking about during Reconstruction. Yeah.
Right. By white Confederates and people who did not want us to achieve any kind of greatness after 250 years of building this country without no pay. And so part of why we were recommending, and part of why the California Reparations Task Force recommended the creation of a California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, was to restore something that had been stolen and taken from us. So to take away that, I think, is something that I don't like about the bill. That's something that can be changed, but that's something that I really don't like about the bill.
You mean can be changed during the process of forming the agency or anything? Okay, so what do you like about it, Chris Lodgson?
So I think at a high level, I think we do have to acknowledge that this is one, that there is a bill.
Yeah, I liked that about it too. Yeah, I like that about it too.
That there does a bill exist, and I do want to give a big public shout out to all of the people who came out in August, which you talked about in the start of the show, very, very rightly. The people who were out in the streets all up and down the state, from San Diego to LA to the Bay to here in Sacramento, at community meetings, at public events in the fall of last year. The people who came to the Capitol just a couple of months ago for the first ever in California state history Reparations Education Advocacy Day. Over 100 people came to the Capitol, went to every single one of the 120 legislators' offices and lobbied for this kind of institution, or some kind of institution, to be created for this purpose. And the almost 20,000 people who have emailed and contacted their legislative offices since then, telling them to do something to create a state institution to help us verify that we are descendants of American slavery, that we are descendants of those who were enslaved in this country, that we are American freedmen. So I like that about the bill. Secondly, I do like the fact that there is a genealogy division in the bill. I think that's good. That is very much like the bill that we had last year that got blocked.
This is there's a genealogy, there's a property reclamation, right?
Right.
Education and outreach, legal affairs.
Absolutely.
Should I be alarmed that there's no explicit aspect talking about dealing with cash reparations or payments?
Yes. You. I think you should. But I want to get to the cons in a minute.
Okay.
But I do want to say on your question about the things that I like, because I think it's important to lift some of those up.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the property reclamation division. I do like parts of that. Part of the bill, specifically the part that talks about distributing compensation to those who had their property taken wrongfully. Yes. That is a checks, cash payments part, but specifically, though, for those who had their property taken. So it won't apply to everybody, but for those who had their property taken, it sounds like this part of the bill will allow the Bureau to distribute checks to you. So I like those things about the bill.
Okay, yeah, that's dope. I didn't realize that. And I think that your first point about there being a bill, and if, that's really important, because they said they were going to do it. Let's make it happen. Now, whether the governor will sign it is another thing. Also, the governor would appoint the director of that bureau, correct?
Yes. And the governor would be appointed by the director, confirmed by the Senate. And then the director would be accountable to the governor. That's coming from the language of the bill. And that is similar to the language that was in SB 1403. And you just made a really, really good point, Dominique, also around, I am 103% positive that there would have been no bill if people weren't out in the streets, if people weren't up at the Capitol, if folks weren't online, if people weren't talking about it. I think they had to do something because of all of the pressure that was on not just the caucus, but also on the governor over the last 7, 8, 9 months.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't have done anything. I mean, I was at some of those meetings I think we have to protest. I think we still have to keep the pressure on right now. I'm not saying that. Right. My objection has to do with two very specific things. One, name calling and sort of not being strategic is really what it comes down to. I think that no matter how angry we are, we have to be strategic. You primary one or two people. You're not going to primary the entire Legislative Black Caucus. That's just my opinion. I think strategy and considering history and folks' positions over the years is important. We're going to continue this conversation with Chris Lodgson. Can't wait to hear what you have to say about SB 437 and more. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Hanceville, Alabama has put its entire police department on leave after a grand jury labeled it a criminal enterprise. The 8 officers are accused of various crimes, and emergency calls will now go to the sheriff's office. Wilson Chavez, a Maryland funeral director, was found guilty of second-degree murder for fatally shooting 30-year-old pallbearer Ronald Banks at the burial of 10-year-old Ariana Davis in June 2023. Chavez, who had been known for supporting the Black community, will be sentenced in July. The Trump administration is removing all migrants from Guantanamo Bay. On Thursday, the Homeland Security Department announced that 177 Venezuelans were flown to Honduras and will be sent back to Venezuela. One migrant was returned to a U.S. facility. And President Trump has announced Kobe Bryant will be honored with a statue in the National Garden of American Heroes, along with icons like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Muhammad Ali, and Harriet Tubman. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, CalHope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron provided another example why many people consider him the GOAT, not Michael Jordan. LeBron dropped 40 points Thursday night in the Lakers' 110-102 win at Portland. LeBron is the only player in NBA history with multiple 40-point games after turning 40. Jordan did it once. This is the second time LeBron has reached this impressive milestone after his 40th birthday on December 30th. He had 42 against Golden State on February 6th. The most important stat in this remarkable achievement is that the Lakers are 2-0 when LeBron has 40 or more. LeBron needs to work on his ball handling. He had a career-high 11 turnovers last night. The Lakers are at Denver Saturday. The Clippers had a 13-point lead at Milwaukee with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter but couldn't hold it. They lost 116-110. Another good game for Kawhi Leonard, 25 points in 32 minutes. The Clippers are at Indiana Sunday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelty, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelty helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better. Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
It's a Freedmen Friday. We're talking to CJEC lead organizer Chris Lodgson. Real quick, I want to mention, because a whole bunch of people have been calling and asking Ashra Kwesi and Mary Rakwesi will be speaking tomorrow, Saturday. Doors open at 4. It's at the BLM LA Center for Black Power in Leimert Park on 43rd Place. It is right next to the Leimert Park Metro stop. I don't know the exact address, but it's actually literally right across from the park in Leimert Park. Doors open at 4. I think the lecture starts at 5, and it is going to be amazing. So, just letting you know that. Okay, so we want to get to SB 437, which you state is about getting clear on what the process is or what would qualify someone to be considered eligible for reparations. Would require the California State University to independently research and report on the scientific methodology to determine an individual's genealogical fingerprint for the purpose of verification as a descendant of an enslaved person in the United States. It sounds a little bit like the Native American Indian process, coming up with a verified process for what makes you a member of a tribe. It also, on its surface, could appear to be a version of what the governor was talking about doing with that $12 million that was allocated last time. What say you, Chris?
It's literally the governor's language. Literally what the governor proposed last year at the end of the season to former State Senator Stephen Bradford, to get him to kill his agency bill that State Senator Stephen Bradford rejected, and that the community advocates like folks in our organization and folks across the state and country rejected also. It's literally the governor wrote that bill. So what the bill does is it creates another study. It does another study with no start date, no end date. Okay.
Oh, that's a great point.
And we just had a study. It was called the California Reparations Task Force. We had 2 years of a study. We don't need no more studies. We don't need no more studies. This is probably the worst of the bills. I have to be quite honest.
Really?
I want to be fair. I think absolutely. And here's why. So this bill requires another study.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Nothing can happen without this study. No other things in any of the packages or bills that's specifically for the descendants, including the Bureau, can actually start doing anything until this study with no start date and no end date finishes at some point. This is
I didn't see that part about nothing else can move forward until.
So take a look at the language, and then also take a look at the press conference from yesterday when the California Legislative Black Caucus.
They sure like to talk.
Go to the right, and shout out to the reporters that was in the room. Ashley, Tony, Kim, Moya. Shout out to everybody that was in the room who was trying to get questions in. The last question or the last question or so that was asked was about why we need another study, and can the Bureau and anything else happen until the study is done? And Senator Weber Pearson said something to the effect of the Bureau will start working and pick up where the study leaves off. Okay, so that means that nothing else can happen without this research.
So the study is
study
is a Trojan horse if that bears out. It's just like
it's a
the
poison
indefinite
pill. It's a poison pill.
It's the indefinite stall mechanism.
And it also,
wow.
so again, Dominique, it blew my mind to see this. Again, it's literally the governor's language. And now let's say I'm Governor Gavin Newsom, right? So let's say I'm governor of California. And both of these bills managed to get to my desk, the Bureau bill and then the study bill. Why would it not make sense for me to say, well, nothing can happen without this study, so I'm just going to sign the study, which I wrote myself, and then veto this Bureau because you really can't do nothing without this study. So let's do it logically in order. Let's do the study first, which we just did, which we paid millions of dollars for, called California Reparations Task Force, and then do all the other things later.
And that's absolutely logical if you look at what he did last time when he vetoed, when he vetoed the, restoration of land bill, and he said, we can't do this because we don't have a bureau. So it's following the same logic that he used to kill another important bill last time.
I can't understand why this. I am, and I'm hopeful. Journalists like yourself and others will ask Senator Weber Pearson to come on the show or make a statement just to explain why do we need another study? I haven't gotten to the part about the money that's in the study because apparently there's $6 million that's supposed to go to one of the colleges that they will select to then do this research. Where does that money come from? If it comes from the $12 million from the last year's reparations budget money, where's the rest of that money?
Right.
So this is I'm trying to wrap my head around this, but it is to me it is a poison pill because you cannot do anything else until the completion of this study with no start date and no end date. And I mean, this to me is it is a poison pill. And it hurts all the other bills in the package that are for the descendants. You talked about AB 7. You talked about, and we talked about AB 57. There are other bills specifically for the descendants in AB 518. Nothing can happen though without a way for you to verify who's eligible, and that can't happen until there's a study done. And
but there's no reason that couldn't be done within the context of a bureau.
Come on, you literally just read my mind. Why not put that in the Bureau, which is where it belongs?
You already have a lineage department in the bill.
You already have
in the agency. There. So why? Yeah, it's a really important observation, and I'm going to be very optimistic and believe that those lawmakers will now be willing to come on the microphone because the bills have been completed and they have something to talk about. I'm going to be optimistic, and we're going to continue to invite them to come on the show and break this stuff down. So now, I think you have convinced me that is the worst bill. I actually had some other candidates for that.
Well, I would love
for that honor, but now I thought expanding employer-employee demographic data reporting to the Civil Rights Department was pretty useless. That's AB 464. Senator Smallwood Cuevas, once again, more data because we don't have enough data.
It's actually so it's weak, but it's also not the right data. So actually, we have a data bill. Also this year, I want to give a shout out to Senator Laura Richardson, who just got elected to the seat of former
I'm
State Senator
familiar.
Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Now this bill is not in the package that was talked about yesterday by the Black Caucus, but SB 515 is a bill that I want to point you to. This is a bill that we've been working with her office on for a couple of months now, and it does work to collect more data, but it collects the right data. So right now we have zero data at the city and county level for people who are descendants of those who were enslaved and emancipated in this country. There is a zero data. If you go into, LA City Hall or the, county of LA or any other city hall or county across the state and ask them in that office, how many people here are descendants of U.S. chattel slavery? The answer is we don't know.
Yeah, that actually came up with the that we actually talked about that with researchers that worked on the LA City reparations study, that they don't actually have that data, believe it or not.
And SB 515, which is a bill that we wrote that was introduced yesterday, will require every city and county in the state of California, starting with employees first, to collect that data, to create a category of data collection for residents who are descendants of those who were enslaved and emancipated in this country. So data.
Well, so two questions about that, Chris, real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Number one, if we don't have an official measurement of what makes you an official descendant, how do they measure that? And number two, does that become just another study in a sense?
No, it's not a study because it's not studying anything. It's actually collecting data on who's actually being hired. So that's not a study. But to your first point, it's a self-reporting. So you know how when you apply for a job and you fill out the application and they ask you your racial, ethnicity, background question. What this bill does is say, as a part of that question, there has to be a category that allows you to say that you are a descendant of someone who was enslaved and emancipated in this country. Now, it would help if there was a state institution that would help you verify that you are a descendant of someone who was enslaved in this country. That would absolutely help our effort. And obviously, we were just talking about that.
All right. Well, you've definitely convinced me as far as the prize for worst piece of legislation. But we have there's quite a few bills that were unveiled yesterday. Yeah. We'll look at more of them when we continue on Freedmen Friday. We're not going to change the name of this feature. It's still going to be Freedmen Friday, and it's only going to be on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like it inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate At the End with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The End with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom. To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
We do not. Neither does CJEC, by the way. Chris Lodgson is their lead organizer. And definitely kudos are due to all of the people who are and continue to fight and struggle for reparations. It's not even close to being over yet. And we're not going to get through all these bills. We may have to do a part 2 of this conversation.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna defer to you here and ask you what else you find to be very important among these bills.
So I think what's very important to note is that there is no real mention of the word reparations, or at least there's very little mention of the word reparations in many of the bills, other than to refer to the California Reparations Task Force. So I think that's important to note, and to be quite honest, I think there are some good reasons for that, and I think there are some things that are not good about that too. One, we have a very clear definition of what we mean by the word reparations, right? When we say the word reparations, we're talking about compensation and restitution to a community who has been harmed and had their rights violated, to help rehabilitate that community, to help guarantee that the bad things that happen to that community never happen again. So if it's not direct compensation and restitution, it's not reparations to us. So the fact that none of the bills do direct compensation and restitution means that none of the bills are reparations. So it makes sense not to call them reparations, although many of the bills, not all, but many of the bills are based on recommendations of the California Reparations Task Force.
This is another place where we're going to agree to disagree. I do think some of these things are reparations. I don't think so. I think some of them are not, though.
Ones?
Well, I mean, the Bureau, for one thing. I mean, standing up a Bureau to me is part of reparations. I happen to think that just labeling something reparations doesn't automatically make it so, and not labeling it that doesn't automatically make it not so. But I understand what you're saying. Reparative.
So we make a distinction between reparations,
I understand what you're saying,
and then reparative justice, which is things that make reparations easier or more likely to happen. So I would call the Bureau a form of reparative justice. And some of the other things too, and then some of the other things are racial equity, all lives matter, universal stuff too.
Yeah, and that's where I draw the line. Like, whatever. If it's moving us toward reparations, whether you want to define it as reparative justice, I do think there was a lot of tap dancing going on around that, and part of it, like you said, is for good reasons. Is the time we're in, where you're not allowed to say DEI or black or benefit black or barely black history.
I don't know, Dominique. I mean, it seems like when it comes to our stuff,
right?
It's let's be scared to say boldly with our chest what we're fighting for, but when it comes to other folks' stuff, DEI, stuff for folks who are immigrants to this country. Stuff. It seems like it's let's be bold. I
understand what you're saying in the pushback. Although there's a lot of preemptive surrender going on right now, so a lot of what you're talking about may be a thing of the past. Yeah, universities are getting rid of all kinds of cultural programs, not just black stuff. It's definitely a faster abandonment of anything pro-black or. True. But there's a massive cowardice seizing up our nation right now. But I mean, I want us to understand what's here, and so folks can make their own decision. And also, we definitely have to do a part 2 because we haven't even gotten through half. We're not even close to half of these bills. Some of it, to me, a head scratcher. Maybe I'm missing something, and maybe you can help me. Like the AB 785 creates community violence interdiction grant program to fund community-driven solutions to decrease violence. Yeah. To me, that's like, it's really, and they're talking about public safety. So to me, it sounds like give money to police is reparations.
So interesting. So I believe that does come from one of the recommendations of the California Reparations Task Force, if my memory is correct, although I know somebody from my team is probably texting me and DMing me right now if that's not true. So shout out to the team who have read that every word of that 1,000+ page report. I think the purpose of this recommendation or this particular proposal is to help fund programs that stop community violence. But those kinds of programs, some of those programs are law enforcement driven. I mean, I think you're absolutely onto something too. So I think we have to look at the language of the bill. Also, we haven't seen language for all of the bills yet,
right.
and we haven't finished reviewing language for all of the bills yet. So when we do part 2, let's definitely talk about that one in particular and look at the language, because I do not want to put money into the hands of law enforcement and then put the word repair or reparative justice or reparations around it. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and when I hear those little keywords, the all lives matter signaling and the public safety signaling, I'm like, oh, okay. How is this in a reparations package?
Thank you. Yeah. Now, again, let's look at the language. I want to be fair to the authors, also, so I don't want to mischaracterize their bill. Yeah. So, but let's definitely look at the language of the bill when we see, again, some of the bills don't have language in them yet. Some of them are, we intend to introduce language to, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, because
so
I was searching, Google searching all of them, and a lot of them I wasn't able to find anything. Is ACA 6, is that a redo of what we tried to do last session?
It is, yes. It's a reintroduction of ACA 8 from last season, and which was a reintroduction of ACA 3 from 2021, and that became Prop 6, and that failed on the ballot last year. And I want to give a shout out to the formerly incarcerated family, brothers like Sam Brown and folks at the Tempe program, and also folks at legal services for prison with children, and the Abolish Slavery National Network. The formerly incarcerated family. Obviously, I got to shout out my friends and folks at ARC, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, also where I'm a policy manager in the Sacramento office. Folks who have been working on this for years. The formerly incarcerated family who came home and then worked to fix what was broken about the slavery and involuntary servitude system. So that is a reintroduction. It's my understanding that there's another bill that's going to come that's going to be what we might call a companion bill to that. So we're still waiting to see that bill, but that is a reintroduction of what was there last year.
And we already talked about AB 7. Anything else? We just have a couple minutes here. Anything else you want to point to? I was confused about AB 475. It says that it seeks to require the CDCR to develop voluntary work programs for institutional residents. How does that a companion to
that
ACA 7?
And okay,
okay.
To AB 6, I want to look at the language, but that might be the companion bill. And so what's going on now is the author of the bill, former chair of the Black Caucus from last year, Lloyd Wilson, has split up the fight to end slavery going on in our state prisons. One part of the fight is going to be at the ballot on the constitutional amendment part. That's going to be a proposition sometime next year, maybe. And then one part of the fight is going to be in the legislature. So the new approach is split the fight up and then see if that will result in success, because we did not get success for Prop 6 last time.
Yeah, and I think given where this country is going, it's really important that we outlaw involuntary servitude in prison ASAP.
Yes, please.
We got 60 seconds here. Chris Lodgson, what would you like to do with it?
Well, I would like to first, again, shout out everybody who has been on the front lines, working behind the scenes for reparations here in California as part of the lineage movement, as part of the status movement, as part of the American Freedmen movement. I want to thank you for all of your work. I think it should not be lost on us that for the second year in a row, we have bills that are at least saying that they're targeting folks who are descendants of those who were enslaved in this country. We still have some work to do around the language of the bills, but we're still ahead of every state. There is no state that I've seen so far that has any bill specifically for those, or at least targeting those who are descendants of those who were enslaved in this country. And so we're still closer to reparations than we've ever been. And as a matter of fact, we are at the beginning. Okay? We are at the beginning of the next phase of the California reparations fight. And again, the second year in a row, And no other state's done this, and the country sure hasn't done it yet. And so I'm looking forward to what's coming next.
Okay, yes or no, because I'm over time here. Is this a vindication for the California Black Congressional Caucus?
No.
Okay, we'll get to that in part 2. Chris Lodgson, you can find him at CJEC Official on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and we're opening up the phone lines right now with comedian Alicia Cooper. Let's talk reparations or whatever after news, traffic, and sports, only right here.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Hanceville, Alabama has put its entire police department on leave after a grand jury labeled it a criminal enterprise. The 8 officers are accused of various crimes and emergency calls will now